are about to start a mock draft. And the draft is loading now, so I'll go ahead and share the screen for that. We're waiting for this to load so I can go ahead and do that. So let me go ahead and do that for you right now. And this is going to be a 10-man mock draft, points league, head-to-head. And we'll go ahead and dive into it. I've got the number 2 pick. And this will be the first and probably the last one that we'll do off the membership. The rest of them will be membership only. We wanted to give you an idea of what you would expect if you dove into the membership. This is some of the stuff we're going to be doing. And of course, kill that with music. Of course, we will also be doing all the other things that we're bringing to the channel. We've got specials that are coming your way. You're going to be the membership badges for the chats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Won't have time to get into all that today, but a lot of bells and whistles for just $2.99 a month. You get you lined up, and the first month is free. Now, how about them apples? So the first month is free, and you'll notice the longer you're there, the cooler your badges are. So we got a lot of stuff in store. We'll get into that down the road, and we're getting ready for this mock draft. By the way, if you're a Braves fan, you're home. If you're not a Braves fan, I think you're going to enjoy the baseball content regardless, especially the fantasy side of it. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do a ton of these drafts. The rest of them will be on the, and they're all going to be the head-to-head points, because I've noticed everybody does the live drafts on the 5x5, the roto side, and it's become more and more popular to do it with the point system. So we're doing point system and let the other folks do the others. We may do a roto here and there, but wanted to give you something a little different. So the draft is about to start. We're 30 seconds out. I'm going to try to manipulate this and see what the best look at. I think I can get a better screen for you. So give me 1 second to do that. Let me see. Move that around. Let's say the heck with that. That's probably the best one. Let me kill that draft sound before that blares and comes flying in. But we're doing this on the Yahoo one. We'll do ones on ESPN. Look, I've done it on the CBS. I'm going to be honest with you. First time that I've done CBS in years. I was in the league. I was in the draft last night. We actually recorded something last night, and because of where we're at, it's already to me. So Ronald Acuna Jr. goes off the board. I got the number 2 pick. That's no surprise. Point system. You see my availabilities. There's only 30-second draft, so I got to cut to the chase. I've got Bobby Witt in a lot of leagues. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to grab Mookie Betts because he's going up my rankings because he can play in 3 different positions in Yahoo. Second, short, and outfield. He's going to be the full-time shortstop for 2024. Check your league settings. You may have other options that you want to go with. But anyways, we are going to do this draft, and it's your basic settings with 3 outfielders, 2 utilities, and in this one, it's 2 starters, 2 relievers, 2 pitchers, and then, of course, 4 pitchers in this one. I was thinking of the last draft, and then, of course, your bench. We'll explain it as we go. If you haven't played, I think you'll enjoy it. I'm going to largen the screen just a bit, give you a little better idea. Now, let me see if I make this thing just a little bigger. I don't think you gain a whole hell of a lot, so let me slide that out like that. So it's going down to the bottom of the second round, and we'll continue to mess with the actual feed to see which one gives you the best look. So I want you to be able to see the most. I think that's the pretty good look right there. I think that's the one that you're going to be able to see the most. And I'm waiting for it to come back to me. Once again, I took Mookie Betts on the first pick. And going back here, let me see here. Here we go. This is what we were doing. So, yeah, we recorded 2 drafts last night on the same recording, got out of it, and the application we used, these knuckleheads change the default settings. So I'm texting them back and forth. I'm like, dude, what are you doing to me, man? Can you leave my settings alone? And the tech guy is trying to defend it. He goes, well, you just have to go in and do this and do that. And what it did was it recorded off my camera and not off my microphone. So it sounded like I was in a hallway. It's my turn to draft. Okay. So what I've got here, I've got Mookie. I've taken Ozzy in a ton of drafts. I'm going to go a different route here. Pete Alonso sitting there, Yordan Alvarez. I like Yordan Alvarez a lot. Once again, this points league. Now, if this was, the 5x5 type of thing, I would have went Ozzy Albies there because you're talking about getting more statistics. But I'm just looking for pure points. And Yordan Alvarez, assuming he can stay healthy, I think he will eclipse the 36 projected. I really do. I think if he can get us 550 at bats, we're going to have around 40 home runs with him. So I'm going to take my risk with him. And I don't foresee me taking a pitcher in this go-around. I've got Mookie. I've got Yordan Alvarez. And I'm going to be looking for, well, you know what? Ozzy's sitting there still. And you're not going to get much more bang for your buck than Ozzy Albies. At that price, second pick of the third round in a 10-man, give him to me. They're going to put him down my utility, but obviously I would slide him to my second base, and I would have Mookie Betts as my short. Okay, going back to this. Now, what we've got going on here with this 10-man second pick, I punted on the pitching to start off. It's a points league. You can go a couple of different routes. I've done some where I've gone pitcher early. I had our big money draft that we went into last night. This was on CBS, and I'm telling you, it was just the worst. It was the worst experience I've had. And I thought ESPN was terrible. That was an absolute abomination of what you get on Yahoo. And the fact that CBS charges you to use their application, I think it's around $160 a year. And Yahoo is free is a joke. Never pay. Never pay. Now, I'm not the commissioner in that league. And so the guy that's doing it, look, they've been doing this league for several years. And he's just one of those old guy type of things, old men get off my lawn type of things. And I'm not going to say he swears to the CBS one because I give him a hard time about it. He says just what I've known when I took it over. This was what it is. So I'm going to wear him down. By next year, we'll be in Yahoo. I would even concede ESPN. There's a couple of the others out there, but Yahoo to me is the best because not only is it free, not only is all the mock drafts and everything, not only are they very user-friendly, but also you get all the information that they're paying for on the CBS one. And the layout on the CBS one is terrible. And I was going to show you one, and I probably will at some point. But for the one draft that we're not going to ask for the membership for, because I wanted to give you an idea of what we're going to do, I had to go with the best, which is Yahoo. All right. We're sitting here at the 35th pick. Still a lot of guys available. If there's a couple of guys that fall into my lap, I'm probably still going to go hitter again. If not, I could pivot to the pitching. We're going to move this out a little bit to give you a better view of how many. I don't want the print to be that small. So I think we're going to stick with right about there and give you an idea of who's available. So the guys that have just gone, Yamamoto, Gausman, Castillo, Trout, and now here we go. All right, it's fallen to me. There's Corey Seager there. And if you look at it real quick, Corey Seager, now we're doing this on Thursday the 14th, and he is taking light swings this week. I'm a little concerned with him starting off the season. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie De La Cruz, I would like him to do a little better than his projections. He's being projected for 20 home runs, 67 RBI, 40 stolen bases. I think he's a guy who could be a 25-50 guy. And the points should come out of this world. And that's the 5th round I'm going into here. I still don't have a pitcher. I'm okay with it. I'm okay because there's a couple of pitchers I have in mind, and we're going to look for them on the way back down. So what it really comes down to is, do I take C.J. Abrams here or Rosarena? Rosarena has a little more upside in the points category. I'm going to go ahead and take Randy Rosarena, and let's go. I would have loved C.J. Abrams at that slot, but honestly, because I can put Mookie Betts at my shortstop position, it's really not a need right now. So what I have right now, I've got Alvarez, Rosarena, Albies, De La Cruz, and Betts. When it comes back to me, again, I'm probably going pitching, but I'm not married to it. There's so much depth in starting pitching, and in a normal league where you can go out and pick up guys throughout the year, I really feel like there's the ability to build a team through offense and patch your pitching together. It's a lot more difficult to do that than to build it through pitching and hope that you hit on a bunch of hitters coming along. So every year you get pitchers that come out of the woodworks, and that's what I'm banking on. Right now, guys that are still available, if I do decide to go pitching, we'll take a look at that real quick. I'm still several picks away, so let me look at it. You got Aaron Nola, Freddie Peralta. I like his upside. His biggest problem has been staying healthy. Grayson Rodriguez, Logan Gilbert. I'm not as in love with Zach Eflin as other people are. Bobby Miller, a little worried about Yuri Perez and his health concerns. I'm concerned about Blake Snell and what's he going to be doing as far as signing with someone and getting to the bump anywhere close to opening day. I'm going to go back to the all view so I can see who's available. We've got, right now, I've got some guys, a guy that I really like that's laying around down there. You got Royce Lewis, third baseman. Love his upside. You've got Nolan Jones. If you're going to have a deep bench, I love Nolan Jones, especially when he's at home. All right, it comes back to me. Once again, I don't have a pitcher yet, but I've not drafted Royce Lewis in one single league yet, and I think I'm going to take a flyer on him. I think his projections are wildly low. But his issue, once again, stay on the field, get the at-bats. So it's going to come back to me now. Now we're talking about coming in through the 6th round, or this was actually be the 7th round, beginning the 7th round. And I feel like at this point, I've got to go get starting pitching. If I don't get starting pitching now, I'm going to really be piecing it together the whole bunch of nothing. Logan Gilbert sitting there. He's being projected for about 177 innings, 174 strikeouts, a low ERA. He'll get you some points. I'll go ahead and take Logan Gilbert right there. When it comes back to me, now realize this may sound like, oh, Logan Gilbert's your ace. It's okay. I'm going to have so much depth, and I will. And this is with the understanding that I'm going to be constantly rifling these pitchers through. I'm going to keep my studs, but I'll have a couple of pieces there that I will stream throughout the season. The one that I was in last night, you only have 6 guys, 6 starting pitchers on your entire roster. 5 active, which means you have 1 bench pitcher, which means I went into a different mentality because the way I looked at that one was, first of all, I already knew that the guys who were going to be in that league were going to go hitting first. Heavy hitting. All right. But if I follow their lead, I'm not going to get I'm not going to get the pick of the litter because I was sitting at the number 7 spot. Maybe if I was at the number 1 spot, I would have said, all right, give me Acuna, number 2 spot. If I would have started off with Shohei Ohtani, I had 3 guys in mind that if I would have been right there and they would have been there, and it was Acuna, it was Ohtani. I'm much bigger on Ohtani than a lot of folks are, and Mookie Betts. And because they weren't there, and some of the other guys that I may have bet my draft for, none of them were there. I took Spencer Strider. I came back around. Aaron Judge was still there because he's dealing with the nagging injury. Aaron Judge at the number 10 spot. Now, this is a shallow league. Number 10 spot. Aaron Judge. All day long, I will take it. I'm not worried about it. He missed too much time last year. He's going to be motivated this year. We all saw what he can do when he stays on the field for the most of the season. 62 bombs, let's go. All right, comes back to me again. I still need some pitching. Bobby Miller's sitting there. I'm going to go ahead and Cole Reagans is sitting there. I'm going to go ahead and set it up and see who else we've got. And looking at what we've got and what I need right now, I need a shortstop, but I don't really. I've got Mookie Betts. I need one outfielder. I'm going to go ahead and let it pick Bobby Miller for me. That's why I queued it up like that, because when I'm doing these, I want to make sure that I have the ability to just get auto-picked. 30 seconds seems like a lot, but not when you're trying to talk and do everything else at the same time. The guy that I've got my eye on here, and I think I may grab him, is Ha-Seong Kim. And the reason being, because of what I've got with Mookie Betts with all the different position players, man, Kim is a solid player across the board. And though I don't think he's going to have a spectacular year, the fact that you can put him in so many different slots is very enticing to me. Now, obviously, the way they have it set up is they are going to set you up with Kim. Where did they slide him in at for me? They technically slid him in for the shortstop position. But once again, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be a super util for me. Most days I would have Ozzy at second, Betts at short, and Kim at DH or third base, filling in for De La Cruz. And then my plan is to have multiple guys that I can pick from. Now, what I'm hoping for right now, I don't think it's going to happen, but the guys that I've got queued up, I've got Joe Ryan, I've got Cole Reagans, I've got Dylan Cease. I like the fact that he's going to San Diego, but I'm not moving him up high. I do think he's going too high in some of these drafts, and it's continuing to rise because everyone does that with the buzz of him. In fact, I believe, he just got drafted 90th. He still is not quite in my top 100 yet. So you've got to keep that in mind when you see these, because whenever a guy gets traded to a new team, there's always a buzz and people are more likely to draft him. By the way, I hope y'all, I'll show it to you after the video. Hope y'all like my new banner. Got it this week. Couldn't believe I found it. There was one left, and the banner over my right shoulder is a big A with "This is Braves Country." I know not everybody who's playing fantasy baseball is a Braves fan, so I get that. But just imagine if it's your favorite team. And this is obviously Braves Country Radio, and we bring you pitch-by-pitch, play-by-play of your Atlanta Braves, radio style all year long. And when your team plays the Braves, check us out. Come on in. Or if you just want to hear radio the way it was supposed to be, the way it used to be. And I must say, we work really hard on our production and the clips and whatnot. Even if you're not a Braves fan, I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll get some laughs. All right. It comes back to me. We look at what's left here on the rankings, the ADP. I'm going to go to ADP. Now, Garrett Cole's still sitting there, but most people aren't drafting him. I'm going to let him sit there for a minute. What I do need is an outfielder, and Brian Reynolds is sitting right there. So let me get me some Brian Reynolds. Now I've got my entire team filled up except for first base and catcher. And there's a reason why I've been letting first base go by the wayside a lot. I think there's incredible depth there. And I think if you're in a points league with a deeper bench, if you can get a couple of solid first basemen, you don't have to go up and grab one of the very first guys that go off the board, because put Yandy Diaz aside, because I'm not going to draft right now. But you look at some of the guys that are available now on this format, because Yandy Diaz of Houston is not only catcher / first baseman, that could be enticing to grab him. I'm going to put him in my queue, but I'm not angling for him right now either. So right now, in the catchers, Diaz is still there. I'm going to bank on the fact that he may stick around. The first baseman, not in love with too many guys here. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and grab the guy. Well, I say that, but let me get here. Well, I went ahead and let Diaz get drafted. It's going to come back to me. I've got something up my sleeve. I've just got to find the top ADP for. Unless he got snagged. He did not get snagged, I don't believe. He did get snagged while I was talking. I was looking at Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole sitting there in round 10, round 11, that's a steal. Now, I got him last night in round 16. But that had to do with the fact that all the guys in that league, they aren't Yankee fans, and they're terrified. I'm looking at it as, man, if I get Garrett Cole that late in the draft, even if he is out for the season, this is a keeper league. I can keep him because I drafted him after the 5th round. Assuming his career isn't over, Garrett Cole is going to be on my staff for for the foreseeable future. Even if he has to have some terrible Tommy John or whatever. Let's hope not. But even if he does, I've got him for next year. Not as motivated to get him in a one and done, especially in a mock draft. But some of the other guys that I'm looking at, when you look at so I think I'm going to focus on pitching when it comes back around, mainly because I've only got Gilbert and Bobby Miller. I need some depth in my pitching. Some of the guys who may get grabbed here in the next few picks, but I'm going to go ahead and cue them up. I've got Michael King. Love him this year. Walker Buehler. He's going to be fine. He's not going to start the season with the Dodgers. He's going to be fine. I'm a little gun-shy on Ryan Pepiot, but some people are drafting him because he's got the RPSP. But Ryan Pepiot, we saw greatness from him last year when he came up for the Dodgers. We also saw him struggle with command. Chris Bassett is still sitting there. That's a lot of value. You see what I'm saying? Deep into the draft, these starting pitchers, Shane Bieber, Bailey Olber. Even Shota Imanaga, who's coming in for the Cubs, I think he's a nice little sleeper. Nestor Cortez, Merrill Kelly. Gavin Williams appears that he's going to be okay. Yu Darvish. So you can cycle through all these pitchers in a redraft league. I'm not talking about a keeper league, in a redraft league. And you're going to be able to be just fine. You really are. If I look at the designated relievers, Fairbanks is still there. Kimbrels is still there. Let's see. Michael King just went off the board. I kind of figured he wasn't going to get back to me. And let's see, Devin Williams. Man, there's so many questions about what's going on with his health. Oh, here we go. Coming through. Didn't see this until just now. He is out 3 months due to back injury. You can take him off your board. You're not drafting a reliever who's out 3 months. All right, comes back to me, and I feel like I either got to get me a starter or I've got, you know what? Give me some Walker Buehler. I'm not scared of Walker Buehler in the 12th round. Are you kidding me? By the time he comes around and you're going to need him. Because, look, by the time he comes back, let's say it's worst case scenario. Let's say he's not back till late May or June. You're going to have other dudes that are going to get injured that he can come in and slide in for. All right. It's coming back to me now. It's my pick. And I think I'm going to, you know what? I'll take a flyer on Bryce Miller. If it doesn't work out, I'll stream him off. Want to make sure there's not any hitters that I would like to hit up here, because I do like to have a little more depth on my bench. In your traditional league, I only have one, maybe two hitters on my bench. But I've got my entire team full of hitters except for first base. And there's a guy that I could pinpoint for first base, so I'm not worried about it right now. But I would like to see who's left for first base, because I may be forced to pull the trigger. Ryan Mountcastle is there. Yandy Diaz is still there. Luis Arias is there. Not loving Arias. Just his lack of power. It's very difficult in a points league to have a guy like Arias there. and expect to get value, because there's going to be weeks where he may get 10 hits and they're all singles. He may only score 1 or 2 runs. And so he got 10 hits, but he doesn't even get you 14, 15 points. And from a first base perspective, I can't do it. I could live with it at second base, but I definitely don't need a second baseman. So from a first base perspective, unless he's sitting there at the end of my bench where I'm sliding him in and out, that's why I could go Arias right now, but I think I'm going to, who I'm looking for is either Yandy Diaz or Santander. And if you're in a league that doesn't take off for strikeouts and whatnot, I'm probably going to go Santander. Because once again, I don't need the third baseman. Yandy Diaz can play first and third. Santander is first and outfield, so that's more attractive to me right now where I'm at. You know, I don't hate the idea of Alec Boehm. I don't know why they are putting his projections as low as they are. Last year, he had 20 home runs, 97 RBI, and 274. This year, they're expecting him to hit only 1680 and 273. What has changed that makes Alec Boehm? Because they're projecting him for about the same at bats, and he's a year older. And I like Alec Boehm. Even though he's never touched home plate, I like Alec Boehm. Because Alec Boehm, first of all, he plays with fire. You can tell he cares about the game, but also he's a solid hitter. And a guy that can play first and third coming off the end of your bench, I could be sold on that. But what I'm looking for right now is a guy who could essentially be an everyday first baseman for it. And I'm probably going to draft 2 guys to be able to play first base. But what I'm doing right now is making sure that I get at least that first baseman. I'll probably handcuff it to a second guy so I can play the best matchup. I would have loved to use Salvador Perez for that exact same thing. Catcher in first base. Problem with Salvador Perez, man, he's long in the tooth. And I don't know how many at-bats he's going to get this year. Because it's not an automatic that he's going to be your designated hitter. And he obviously doesn't help you any way, shape, or fashion in getting the other key points across, meaning, you know, getting runs scored, doubles and whatnot. He's broken down as a player. So look, best first baseman on my board, I'm going to take Anthony Santander. Anthony Santander can slide into first base. It's going to come back around to me, and I'm going to punt it. I was going to go take one of these other first basemen as well, but honestly, I think I can punt it because there's so much value in all those guys. Why go back-to-back first baseman? So let's see what we got on the starting pitcher. Let's see what we have on the reliever side of it. Craig Kimbrell is still there. Craig Kimbrell is still a solid reliever. He is not the guy he was 10 years ago, but he's going to be on a really good team in the back of their bullpen, and he'll get you points all year long. We're about to enter the 16th round, and it's moving a little faster now. And we still have to build the bench. We have to build our pitching. I need another reliever, but that doesn't, the way they set it up on Yahoo, so many starters qualify for the relief position. I don't necessarily have to have your traditional reliever. If I'm going to go that route, I'm going to do what I did last night. And okay, so I'm going to lay out the scenario in the league. These guys, to a man, just as I was told, they all went hitters early and often. And it was a mad dash. Well, the way I looked at it was, I can get enough value sprinkling in a hitter here and there. I had the 7th pick in an 8-man league. It's only 8 because getting that many people to pay that much money to play in this league, we'll forget about it. So it comes down to me, and I know the guy who's about to draft back-to-back, I know his allegiance and who he likes to pick. I took Spencer Strider. The news had just broken about Garrett Cole. So everybody was staying away from Garrett Cole. So I knew Spencer Strider was going to be the first pitcher off the board. After that, it was going to be a hot minute. I grabbed Spencer Strider. It came back to me, and lo and behold, Aaron Judge is sitting there. Let's see, it's my pick again. I'll finish that thought here in 1 second. All right, so I'm not seeing a reliever per se that's knocking my socks off. So I'm going to hold on for a second. I'm going to go to the starters, and Merrill Kelly, solid pitcher, might be the best option, although Mitch Keller's there too. You know what? I think Mitch Keller's going to have a better year than what he did last year. You know, give me some Mitch Keller. It'll come back to me here in a second. I have a time to look this up and see what else we have available. Now, as far as the first baseman, remember I punted on a backup first, a guy that could play multiple positions a second ago. And one of the guys that I'm interested in, just because he had such a great year last year, Justin Turner. He's sitting there, and I may wait to use him as my bench piece. Alec Boehm is very enticing. The difference is Turner can play first, second, and third. So I do believe I'm going to punt here for a second. I'm going to go back. Are there outfield positions? There's some outfielders that I love at this spot. Kerry Carpenter is still there. Chaz McCormick is still there. Soler is still there. Because I like three of them, let's go back and build that starting pitching again. And he's still there. I got to do it. Give me Merrill Kelly. Get Merrill Kelly onto my team. So I grabbed Kelly and Keller. I'm sure there's some kind of wordplay you could do for a team name there. But I was hoping to get one of those coming down on that turn. I got both of them. Right now, my starting rotation is Logan Gilbert, Bobby Miller, Bueller, who's obviously going to start on the IL, Miller, Keller, and Kelly. It's pretty solid. Once again, I will be very aggressive. If I'm in a league like this, I'm going to be very aggressive on that waiver wire all year long. And by mid-season, I'll have a killer starting pitching. I'll be fine. And because of my bats, my team should be right there in the thick of it. My catcher right now is Diaz, and he can slide in catcher and first base. So because of that, I'm going to look for another catcher before this is all said and done. I've got Santander at first. I'm going to find another first baseman. I've got Betts, De La Cruz, Kim, Alvarez, Arozarena, Brian Reynolds, Ozzie, and Royce Lewis. Now realize Ozzie will probably be at second. Kim will probably be extra for me. Mookie at short, and I'm looking for a couple other bats to add to this team. Looking at the best batters available, there's still Jorge Soler. There's still Alec Boehm. Jorge Soler is being projected for 29 home runs. He had 36 last year. It's because of the park. Okay, let's say he gets 29, somewhere around 30. That's pretty darn good with 75 RBI. And I believe that San Francisco is going to win a few more games than what people think. Remember how good they were in 22? They took a big step back last year. They were phenomenal in 21, if you remember. And they've kind of been in a dip the last couple of years. I think 2021, I want to say 106 wins. I know that because the Dodgers upset them, that's how the Braves ended up in the NLCS. If not, they were going to have to go to San Francisco. And the big debate was, do you want home field or do you want to play the Dodgers? But that was a very good team. Their over-under is at 81.5. We're going to do a show on all the season-long bets. That'll be coming up soon. So please become a member because, look, we did really well last year. All right, it comes back to me. There's some guys out there. Look, this one's got the most thump. It's hard to turn down Jorge Soler, who's going to get plenty of opportunities. Flies back to me one more time. And now I'm looking for some depth. Now, the one thing I want to know is catcher-wise, all right, Gabby Moreno, he's not going to get a lot of power, but he is going to he's going to be an interesting points getter. Instead, let's go back to relief pitchers real quick. There's Pepia. I'm going to go ahead and grab Jose Alvarado. Never mind. 1 second too late. I ended up with Nestor Cortez, which I'm fine with that as well. I was going to grab Jose Alvarado. Look, he's going to be the closer. Before it's all said and done, that's going to be the closer. And until then, he'll get you holds and whatnot, however your league settings are. But remember something. All they talked about in the offseason was that the Phillies are going to make the trade for Devin Williams. It's going to happen. Just trust it. Well, now we'd find out that Devin Williams isn't going to be on a pitcher's mound for anybody until best case scenario end of June. And let's be honest, they say at least 3 months. It's usually 4. Hell, Devin Williams may not even pitch this year. And when he does, is he going to be the closer? So, I had him off of all my big boards going in before we ever knew that, because anytime the player says, I want a second and third opinion, that tells me something. When the team's saying, no, it's fine. Well, are they saying that just because they want to get you traded and hope that their doctor says everything's fine as well? So Devin Williams is not going to be out there for 3 months. That means Jose Alvarado is the most logical player. They've got a couple other options. But, man, Jose Alvarado, who, by the way, has been drafted since I picked. But that was going to be my pick. So I'm probably going to punt that here for a second, looking at the guys that are available. I mean, you've got some interesting names. I may just go, let me see here, starting pitchers. Let me see what we got here. Starting pitchers that are still there. I'm staying away from Kodai Senga. I don't like the injury that he's dealing with. Nathan Eovaldi was announced as the opening day pitcher. Let's go ahead and pick Eovaldi. You know he's going to get you innings. You know he's going to get you strikeouts. Comes back to me one more time. Look, Charlie Morton is still a guy that gets you a lot of strikeouts. Being projected, he had 183 and 163 innings last year. He's still a guy that can get you strikeouts, get you innings. And that's the name of the game in a points league. You got some other interesting guys. You know, Jacob deGrom is an interesting stash piece. I just don't know if Jacob deGrom is going to pitch this year. But if you're in a keeper league, any version of a keeper league, and he's out there, he's going to pay dividends for you next year. It's coming back to me one more time. I'm going into this with the idea that he's not, that I'm not playing in a keeper league. But we'll do some more. In fact, we'll do one that is keeper league settings is what we'll do. All right, comes back to me. Starting pitcher, give me some Nick Lodolo. And it comes back to me again. I need someone I can slide into that relief if I'm not going to find a closer. You can always find a closer, by the way. As the season goes on, you can always find a closer. But give me Cutter Crawford to slide into the relief role, because I'll be able to move that around, and we are sitting here at the final pick, and that'll do it. We'll take a look at my team here in a second. But don't be afraid to take some flyers, take some injured guys. The moment the draft ends, slide them into your IL, and then get ready to pick up guys. And sometimes you're going to have to wait. Sometimes you're going to have to wait for the guy to officially be put on the IL, and it will drive you bananas. It really will. We'll take a look at it here in a second. But let's see, draft results, teams. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go to my team. Ended up with Diaz at catcher, Santander at first, Betts, Ella de la Cruz, Ha-Seong Kim, Jordan Alvarez, Randy Arozarena, Brian Reynolds, Ozzie, Royce Lewis, and Jorge Soler. What I would do differently if I'm not trying to host and draft, do all 9 things at once, what I do differently is that I would have gotten a little more depth on my hitting. Probably got one more player, one more hitter that can play multiple positions. Maybe a catcher, maybe not. Depends on what's out there, so I have a little more flexibility. But the first thing I would be doing is looking through and seeing who I can slide into. I can make a drop at some point. It's not a net necessity at this point. I've got a very good starting pitching staff. Do I have an ace? No. But I have a bunch of 2s and 3s up and down the lineup and some 4s. Let's be honest. But you're going to get that as you get later in the draft. But I think all in all, that is a very good pitching staff. You got Gilbert, Miller, Bueller. I got both Miller boys, Bryce and Bobby, and I got Keller and Kelly. So you could definitely play on words there for a fantasy team. Cortez, Eovaldi, Uncle Charlie, and Nick Lodolo. And what I would probably do with this team is I'd probably go to opening day with this. This is fine. And then anyone that slides into an injury slot or whatnot, then I would pick up an extra bat. But other than that, I'm okay with it. And I'm going to keep an eye on closers that are going to be out there that are definitely going to make, usually within the first 2 or 3 weeks, it becomes very obvious that about 3 guys can be picked up. And when those 3 guys can be picked up, 2 or 3 guys, you pounce, you release someone that's not performing up to your standards, and now you've got your extra closer. Because I've already got Kimbrel. And in theory, I would love to have 3 that I can move 2 slots, 2 starters, 3 relievers. But usually I don't do that with relievers. I just let them ride. And I'm constantly cycling new starters. So there you have that. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. This will be the only fantasy baseball one that we do that is not membership. After this one, all these other drafts that we're going to do, you need to sign up. Remember, the first month is free. It's only $2.99. Come on. Like Sally Fields over here, or Sally Struthers. Yeah, it's Sally Struthers. 30 cents a day. No, 10 cents a day. It's 10 cents a day. Not even that. A little over 9 cents a day, and you become a country club member. And there's going to be a lot of fun stuff. We got a lot of stuff planned for the new members, and we're excited for 2024. And, of course, opening day is almost here, and you know we hit the ground running at that point. Y'all have a great one, y'all. We'll be doing the next one, dropping the next one very, very shortly.